Everything begins and ends in your mind. Before anything becomes real in your life, it is first created in your thoughts. The way you think shapes the way you see the world, and the way you see the world determines how you act. Most people don't realize this. They walk through life reacting instead of deciding, allowing their emotions, fears, and doubts to take control. But mental toughness starts the moment you take back that control. It starts when you understand that your mind can either be your greatest weapon or your biggest weakness. When challenges show up, and they will, it's not the situation that defines you. It's your response to it. Two people can face the same problem, and one breaks while the other rises stronger. What's the difference? It's not talent, not luck, not background. It's mindset. A strong mind says, this is tough, but I'm tougher. A weak mind says, why is this happening to me? The moment you shift from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming the commander of them, everything begins to change. You stop letting negativity control your actions, and you start choosing your responses with purpose. That's where real power lies, not in avoiding difficulty, but in facing it with a mind that refuses to quit. But controlling your mind is not something that happens overnight. It's a daily battle, a constant discipline. Your mind will try to take the easy path. It will tell you to stay comfortable, to avoid risk, to give up when things get hard. It will feed you excuses that sound logical but keep you stuck. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. This is too hard. These thoughts feel real, but they are not commands. They are suggestions. And mentally tough people understand that they don't have to obey every thought that enters their mind. They question it, they challenge it, and when necessary, they ignore it completely. That's the difference. You don't wait to feel ready. You act despite not feeling ready. You don't wait for confidence. You build it through action. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you push through when your mind says stop, you are strengthening your mental muscles. And just like physical training, the more you do it, the stronger you become. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes normal. What once scared you becomes routine. This is how you reprogram your mind, not with words alone, but with consistent action. You prove to yourself again and again that you are in control. And once you truly take control of your mind, you unlock a level of freedom that most people never experience. You are no longer controlled by fear, because you understand that fear is just a feeling, not a limitation. You are no longer held back by doubt because you've trained yourself to act even when doubt is present. You begin to see obstacles as opportunities, pressure as a privilege, and hard times as a chance to grow. Life doesn't get easier, but you get stronger, sharper, more resilient. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. You stop blaming circumstances and start owning your outcomes. And in that moment, you realize something powerful. Your life has always been in your hands, guided by the thoughts you choose to believe and the actions you choose to take. When your mind is disciplined, your actions become unstoppable. And when your actions are unstoppable, your results become inevitable. Control your mind, and you don't just change your thoughts. You change your entire life. Pain is something most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. They run from it, hide from it, distract themselves from it, doing anything they can to stay comfortable. But the truth is, comfort is the enemy of growth, and pain is the gateway to transformation. Nothing meaningful in life comes without struggle. Every success story you admire, every strong individual you look up to, every achievement that stands out in this world was built on a foundation of discomfort, sacrifice, and persistence through pain. Mental toughness is not about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about embracing it, understanding it, and using it as fuel. When things get hard, when your body feels tired, when your mind starts screaming at you to quit, that's the moment where most people stop. But that's also the exact moment where growth begins. That's where you separate yourself from the average. Because pain is not there to break you, it's there to test you, to shape you, to reveal what you're truly capable of. Instead of asking, how do I avoid this? You start asking, what can this teach me? You begin to see discomfort not as something negative, but as a sign that you're moving forward, that you're stepping outside your limits, that you're becoming stronger than you were yesterday. The problem is, your mind will try to protect you from pain. It's wired for survival, not success. It wants you to stay safe, to conserve energy, to avoid anything unfamiliar or uncomfortable. That's why the moment things get difficult, your mind starts negotiating with you. It tells you to slow down, to take a break, to quit just this once. It gives you reasons that sound convincing, excuses that feel justified. But mentally tough people don't fall for that trap. They understand that growth requires resistance. Just like muscles need tension to grow stronger, they lean into the discomfort instead of running from it. When it burns, they push harder. When it hurts, they stay focused. They don't wait for the pain to go away. They train themselves to operate within it. And over time, something incredible happens. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes manageable. The struggle that once felt overwhelming becomes familiar. You develop resilience, endurance, and an unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can handle more than you ever thought possible. You start to realize that pain is temporary, but the strength you gain from it is permanent. Every drop of sweat, every moment of struggle, every time you refuse to quit when it would have been easy, you're building something inside you that no one can take away. And when you truly embrace pain and discomfort, you begin to see life differently. Challenges stop looking like obstacles and start looking like opportunities. You no longer fear hard times because you understand that they are shaping you into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing growth. You willingly put yourself in situations that test you, that push you, that demand more from you than you think you can give. Because you know that's where the real progress happens. You stop asking for an easier life and start building a stronger mindset. And in doing so, you gain a level of control, confidence, and resilience that most people never experience. You become someone who doesn't break under pressure, someone who doesn't back down when things get tough, someone who keeps going when others quit. That's the power of mental toughness. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about mastering it, using it, and rising through it. Because at the end of the day, the pain you feel today is shaping the strength you rely on tomorrow. And the discomfort you embrace now is building the life you'll be proud of later. Embrace the pain, because it's the fire that forges greatness. Motivation feels powerful, but it's also unreliable. It comes in waves. Some days you wake up energized, focused, ready to take on the world. And on other days, that fire is gone. You feel tired, distracted, maybe even doubtful. And this is where most people fall off. They depend on motivation to carry them forward, and when it disappears, so does their effort. But mental toughness is built on a different foundation. It's built on consistency, on showing up regardless of how you feel. Because the truth is, your feelings are temporary, but your actions create lasting results. The people who succeed are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who keep going when motivation fades. They understand that progress is not about intensity. It's about repetition. It's about doing the work again and again, even when it feels boring, even when it feels hard, even when there's no immediate reward. That's what separates the average from the exceptional. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired, but only a few can stay committed when that inspiration disappears. And it's in those quiet, unseen moments, when no one is watching, when you don't feel like it, that your true character is revealed and your mental toughness is forged. Your mind will constantly try to pull you toward comfort. It will tell you that missing one day doesn't matter, that you deserve a break, that you can start again tomorrow. And while that might sound harmless, it's a dangerous pattern, because success isn't built in one big moment. It's built in small decisions repeated daily. Every time you choose to show up, you're reinforcing discipline. Every time you choose to quit, you're reinforcing weakness. And those choices compound over time. Mentally tough people don't negotiate with their excuses. They don't wait until they feel ready or motivated. They've made a decision and they follow through on that decision no matter what. They understand that discipline is a commitment to yourself, a promise that you keep even when it's inconvenient. And the more you honor that promise, the stronger you become. Over time, something shifts inside you. The struggle doesn't disappear, but your response to it changes. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on habits. You build routines that carry you forward even on your worst days. You become someone who doesn't need to feel good to perform well. And that's where real power lies, when your actions are no longer controlled by your emotions, but guided by your purpose. And once you reach that level of consistency, everything starts to change. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you'll follow through no matter what. Your confidence grows, not from words or temporary feelings, but from evidence. From the fact that you've shown up again and again, even when it was hard. You develop a quiet strength, A resilience that doesn't need validation because T's rooted in action. And while others are waiting for the perfect moment, you're already moving forward, making progress, building momentum. You start to realize that success isn't about doing something extraordinary once. It's about doing the ordinary things extraordinarily well every single day. It's about staying consistent when it's boring, when it's repetitive, when it feels like nothing is changing. Because deep down, you know that every small effort is adding up. Every step is taking you closer to where you want to be. And in the end, it's not motivation that gets you there. It's discipline, persistence, and the refusal to quit. Stay consistent, especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's the moment that truly defines you. Failure has a way of shaking you. It hits your confidence, tests your patience, and makes you question whether you're really capable of achieving what you set out to do. Most people experience failure and immediately attach meaning to it. They see it as proof that they're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. And because of that, they stop. They retreat into comfort, choosing safety over growth, avoiding the very thing that could have made them stronger. But mental toughness completely rewrites that story. It forces you to see failure differently, not as a final outcome, but as a necessary step in the process. Every failure carries a lesson. Every setback carries information. And every mistake carries the potential for growth if you're willing to learn from it. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who avoided failure. They are the ones who faced it repeatedly and refused to let it define them. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? That shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you stop fearing failure, you start taking action. And when you take action, you create opportunities to improve, to adapt, and to get closer to your goals. The truth is, failure is one of the most honest teachers you will ever have. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. It shows you exactly where you need to improve. It exposes your weaknesses, your blind spots, your limitations. And while that can be uncomfortable, it's also incredibly valuable. Because once you see where you're falling short, you have the power to fix it. But that only happens if you're willing to face it head on. Mentally tough people don't run from their failures. They study them. They analyze what went wrong. They take responsibility for their mistakes. And they use that knowledge to come back stronger. They don't waste time blaming others or making excuses, because they understand that growth requires ownership. And every time they fall, they get back up with more experience, more awareness, and more determination than before. Over time, this creates a powerful cycle. Failure leads to learning, learning leads to improvement, and improvement leads to progress. And with each cycle, you become more resilient, more capable, and more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. What once felt like defeat starts to feel like preparation, like a stepping stone rather than a stopping point. And when you truly embrace failure as part of the journey, you unlock a level of freedom that most people never experience. You stop being paralyzed by the fear of getting it wrong, and you start focusing on the process of getting better. You take risks, you push your limits, you step outside your comfort zone, not because you're guaranteed to succeed, but because you understand that even if you fail, you'll gain something valuable from the experience. You become relentless in your pursuit of growth, knowing that every setback is simply a setup for a comeback. And that mindset transforms everything. You no longer see failure as something to avoid, but as something to use. You become someone who doesn't quit after one loss, or 2, or 10. You keep going, adjusting, improving, evolving. Because deep down you know that success is not about never falling, it's about always rising. It's about refusing to let temporary setbacks turn into permanent defeat. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become, until failure itself loses its power over you. It becomes just another part of the process, another step on the path to something greater. Turn your failures into lessons, because they are the building blocks of the person you are meant to become. Self-doubt is one of the quietest yet most destructive forces you will ever face. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It creeps into your mind at the worst possible moments. Right before you take a risk, right when you're about to step forward, right when you're close to something bigger. It tells you that you're not ready, not capable, not enough. And if you're not careful, you start believing it. You hesitate, you second guess yourself, you hold back, opportunities pass, potential fades, and slowly you begin to shrink into a version of yourself that feels safe but unfulfilled. But mental toughness demands something different. It demands that you recognize that voice for what it truly is. Not truth, but fear disguised as logic. That voice is not there to guide you. It's there to protect you from discomfort, from risk, from failure. But as you already know, everything worth having lies on the other side of those things. So instead of listening to that voice, you learn to challenge it. You question it. You refuse to let it dictate your actions. Because the reality is, doubt will always be there at some level. Even the strongest, most successful people feel it. The difference is, they don't obey it. They move forward anyway. Your mind is constantly absorbing and repeating patterns. The more you entertain negative thoughts, the stronger they become. If you keep telling yourself that you can't do something, your mind will find ways to prove that belief right. It will look for evidence. It will highlight your past mistakes. It will remind you of every time you fell short. And before you know it, you've built a mental environment that works against you. But here's the powerful truth. You can change that. You can train your mind just like you train your body. It starts with awareness. You catch those negative thoughts as they appear. And instead of letting them grow, you replace them. When your mind says, I can't, you respond with, I will try. When it says, I'm not good enough, you respond with, I'm getting better every day. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing a mindset that empowers you instead of limiting you. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, your inner dialogue shifts. The voice that once held you back becomes quieter, and the voice that pushes you forward becomes stronger. You begin to build belief not from empty words, but from consistent effort and small wins that prove to you that you are capable. And that belief, F, becomes a powerful force, one that drives you to take action even in the face of uncertainty. And when you truly silence self-doubt and take control of your thoughts, you step into a completely different version of yourself. You stop waiting for permission because you no longer need validation from anyone else. You trust your ability to figure things out, to adapt, to grow. You take chances that you once avoided. You speak up when you once stayed silent. You go after goals that once felt out of reach. Not because fear has disappeared, but because it no longer controls you. You understand that confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to act despite it. And that decision, repeated over time, transforms everything. You build momentum, you gain experience, and you create a track record of courage that strengthens your mindset even further. You become someone who doesn't back down from challenges, someone who believes in their potential, even when the path is unclear. And that's where real growth happens, not in the absence of negativity, but in your ability to rise above it. Because at the end of the day, the only limits that truly exist are the ones you accept in your mind. Silence the doubt, take control of your thoughts, and you unlock a version of yourself that is stronger, braver, and more capable than you ever imagined. Discipline is where everything comes together. It is the bridge between who you are right now and who you have the potential to become. Without it, all the motivation, all the goals, all the dreams mean nothing. Because ideas don't change your life. Actions do. And discipline is what drives those actions, especially when you don't feel like taking them. It's easy to be excited at the beginning, to feel energized when you set a new goal. But that excitement fades. What remains is the daily decision to show up, to put in the work, to stay committed even when it's hard, repetitive, and uncomfortable. Discipline is not about intake, tenacity. It's about reliability. It's about becoming someone who can be counted on, not by others, but by yourself. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. No excuses, no delays, no negotiations. And that level of self-respect changes everything. Because every time you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by your mood, your circumstances, or your environment. You are controlled by your decisions. And that realization is powerful because it puts you back in charge of your life. But building unshakable discipline is not easy. Your mind will resist it at every step. It will try to pull you back into comfort, into old habits, into patterns that feel familiar but keep you stuck. It will tell you that you can skip one day, that you can take it easy, that it won't make a difference. But discipline is built in those exact moments. It's built when you choose to act, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching, because those are the moments that define you. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy, when everything is going well, when motivation is high. But real discipline shows up when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you'd rather do anything else. That's when you draw the line and say, no matter how I feel, I'm getting this done. And the more you make that choice, the stronger you become. You start to build habits that support your growth, routines that keep you on track, systems that make success inevitable. You stop relying on willpower alone and start creating a lifestyle that aligns with your goals. And over time, discipline stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like who you are. It becomes part of your identity, something you carry with you in everything you do. And when discipline becomes unshakable, it gives you something that nothing else can: freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from doing whatever you want in the moment, but the kind that comes from knowing you are in control of your life. You are no longer a slave to distractions, to procrastination, to short-term comfort. You have the ability to stay focused, to stay committed, to stay consistent, no matter what challenges come your way. And that level of control allows you to achieve things that once felt out of reach. You start to see results, real progress. Because your actions are aligned with your goals every single day. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't make excuses, someone who keeps going long after others have given up. And that's what separates the great from the average. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's discipline. The willingness to do what needs to be done over and over again until the job is finished. Because at the end of the day, success is not about what you do once. It's about what you do consistently. Build your discipline, protect it, and rely on it, because it will carry you further than motivation ever could. Discipline is the foundation of mental toughness, and once you master it, there is nothing that can stand in your way. Mental toughness is not something you're born with. It's something you build, choice by choice, day by day, moment by moment. It's in the way you control your mind when negativity tries to take over, the way you embrace pain instead of running from it, the way you stay consistent when motivation disappears, the way you rise after every failure, the way you silence self-doubt, and the way you commit to discipline no matter how hard it gets. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it, because on the other side of that struggle is a stronger, more resilient version of you. Someone who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't quit when things get tough, and who refuses to settle for less than their full potential. You don't need perfect conditions, you don't need constant motivation, and you don't need anyone else's approval. You just need the decision to keep going, no matter what, until you become the person you were meant to be.